Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Sunday, September 20th, 2020, and welcome to my newest segment of Markets a Look Ahead. Big week coming up. I want to cover a lot of stuff with you. Let's put a few things together here. Right now, again, you know what I always do first. I don't really focus too much on the stock market until I see what's going on in the debt market. Okay, the debt market right now with the 10-year hovering at about 0.7. Okay, what does that tell me? There's no real fear in this market. The dollar, weak, mostly flat. Okay, let's see how that plays out moving forward. I believe the trend for the dollar getting weaker as time goes on is going to continue. Why? It's very simple. The Federal Reserve is determined to dilute the dollar. And just this past week, Wednesday, the Fed said what? They are determined to not just hit their 2% inflation target, but exceed it. In order to do that in this environment with a dead economy, dead. I don't know how many of you are catching the laughable commercials that are being flashed on the television about our economy is in a recovery. It's in a V-shaped recovery. I mean, this is all obviously propaganda from the upcoming election. The economy could not be in worse shape. All right. The middle class is the economy. And the middle class is being systematically exterminated. The market, doing great. I mean, that's what I think the distraction is. It's always the same. Look at the stock market. We're not too far from all-time record highs with regard to the stock market. And in my opinion, we're going to get there again in a relatively short time. So anyway, the Fed is going to continue to buy the debt in greater amounts. Now, talking about debt real quick, we understand that the Federal Reserve is buying corporate debt. No secret, they've announced it. And just again, this past week, they're going to buy more. We've witnessed a kind of a phenomenon going on here. These corporate entities are issuing more debt, and the Fed is buying it. Now, this trend is going to also continue moving forward. It allows the Fed to fulfill their end game, to be the lender and buyer of last resort, to buy it all. And it also boosts these corporate stock prices by taking the debt burden off of them. And again, who gets to bear that burden? We do, the people. It's always the same story. Okay. So understand, looking at the debt market right now, there's not a lot of fear here, all right? With the 10-year yield 0.7, let's see how this plays out tomorrow. The dollar is in a downward spiral, period. It's going to continue. Both of these are stock market positive. It's devastating for the middle class, but it's stock market positive. Crude oil right now hovering at about $41 a barrel. Okay, the market wants to see this higher. In my view, and I've called crude oil pretty damn accurately, the market wants to see crude oil around 43, 44, 45. If they manage to do that, and I think there's a high probability of this happening soon, it's going to lift the energy sector, it's going to lift the financial sector, stocks will go up. You understand? Very easy. Now, let's step back a moment and look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is very simple to understand. I explained to you that this month is a volatile month for the markets historically. We are going into, beginning tomorrow, a week which is generally not a good one for the stock market. Okay? Historically, at the end of this month here is weak. Okay, well, let's see how that plays out moving forward. But again, nothing is written in stone. Nothing is real in this market. We're looking at the 10-year yield. We're looking at the dollar. We're looking at crude oil. We're also paying attention to some other things. Let's talk about that real quick. It appears right now that the airlines are in fact going to get a second bailout. Only question is how much. We understand the airlines already got $25 billion in its first bailout. But I want you to understand something. In just the last several years, American Airlines has bought back $12 billion of its own stock. Delta, $11 billion. United, $10 billion. That's just these three, all right? So, again, the American people are not being allowed to understand what's going on here. These airlines collectively have bought tens of billions of dollars back of their own stock. Now, what I want to know is why the current administration bailed them out already with $25 billion, is now saying more than likely they're going to get a second bailout, but they're not asking these airlines to do one simple thing. Liquidate the shares that they bought back. See, this is capitalism. This is how it would work. What we have here goes beyond socialism. Okay, this is something else. And I'll leave that up to you to decide. Do you think it's fair that these airlines, again, appear to be on the cusp of getting a second bailout? Meanwhile, they bought back tens of billions of dollars in their own stock over the past several years. Me personally, if we had a real president, if we had a real leader, he would insist that these airlines liquidate those shares that they bought back. It won't happen. It will not. Again, this is a mechanism here to enrich the CEOs of these corporations, keep the stock market propped up at the expense of the middle class. We lose. Every commercial that you see right now talking about a booming economy, they're all over the place. We're adding jobs. President Trump is the man to do it. You're being lied to and being sold propaganda on the biggest scale on the face of the earth. And again, I am not saying it's going to be any better under Biden. I just want you to realize that you're being lied to. And you've been getting lied to since Obama. Okay, Obama was the one who started. I mean, why him? Why am I picking on Obama here? Because again, we had an economic free fall. The American people were forced to bail it all out. Of course, all these presidents are corrupt, all of them. But Obama and Trump have been public enemies, number one, for the middle class. How can I prove that? The middle class is almost gone under these last two presidents. And that's going to continue moving forward, regardless of who sits behind the resolute desk. The bigger plan is a two-tier society, like I've explained to you since time immemorial. That's where we are going. If you are a member of the middle class, you are done, finished. It's over for you. You are more than likely going into the lower rung of society, unless, of course, you've been following my work over all these years. I have tried my hardest to pull those members of the middle class, maybe it's you, up, to raise you higher, okay? And it's kind of absurd. Let's move forward here. So President Trump is now giving his blessing. That's what he said, his words, blessing. I guess he's the Pope now, on a deal for TikTok, for Oracle, and Walmart. Obviously, this is positive for Oracle and Walmart, stock market positive overall. So, there's a lot of dynamics that are in play here right now for this week moving forward. And I think it's going to be a tug of war between negative forces, negative being that this time of the year, seasonally, is not good for the market. And again, the propaganda of the markets, the blessing from the president for Oracle and Walmart for their TikTok deal. You can't make this stuff up. Blessing. I don't know. Maybe he's going to sprinkle some holy water as well. There's something going on here. Anyway, I think you get it. But again, you and I, all of this, it just makes our understanding easier, knowing what we need to do. If we realize the bigger picture, the whole thing here, we remain in the spots we are in and we continue to play our game. They're going to play their game. We're going to play our game. The Fed, other central banks are going to inflate by design. They want to own it all. And to do that, they got to dilute the currency. You know, what do? We want to do? We want to take the opposite side of that trade. We're going to hold gold. We're going to hold silver. We're going to hold cryptocurrencies. Period. That's what we do. If we are in this market, you're trading this market, we don't deviate from our plan. We understand what's going on. In my opinion, we still stay long this market. Let the volatility burn off. And that's it. If I do change my mind on this, all my alliance, all of you, will be made aware of exactly what I am doing in my free newsletter. There's a link in the description of this video, which you can subscribe to my newsletter. I think there's like 37,000 people now that have subscribed to my newsletter. And I mean, it's critical information for traders and for people that want to stay ahead of this market, understand what I am doing in this market here. It'll let you gain a perspective. I think it's very important. And again, my job here, it's been this way for a very long time, over a decade, is to try to let all of you understand the environment we are in, to see through the lies, the propaganda, the charade, the distractions. I mean, this is unprecedented where we are right now. It's actually beyond a freak show. It's beyond the clown show. It's some other thing here. Unfortunately, we are watching our country be transformed into something hideous, and it's not going to stop. It's only going to accelerate along with the lies. The lies will continue to get bigger. And I think we've pretty much hit the pinnacle of that right now. All right, people, with that said, I think this has been a very important video. Ponder these things. Let's stay on the right side of everything. You know, don't get too focused on little tiny things. You got to always step back and look at the big picture and understand what's going on. All right, with that said, I will see you all in the morning. I'm looking forward to this week, although I do expect it to be, again, this tug of war. And again, doesn't matter. We got it covered. This guy here loves you a lot. I will see you in the morning. Bye.